Are these the game-changing clubs that you probably should buy, but I guarantee you won't want to? So these are the hybrids from 11. They come in 3-iron all the way down to pitching wedge. Now, I have devised not just any test here. This is actual test, not just whacking the golf clubs. We're going to test a long, a medium, and what I'm questioning in my head right now is a pitching wedge in a hybrid in 3 different scenarios. How do they perform from the rough? How do they perform from the semi-rough and then from the fairway, to make sure we test these clubs properly? Interestingly, have you ever heard of these clubs? I'm excited about this test because the more and more people I teach, the more and more I see golfers using hybrids in their lower irons. And actually, I'll be honest, if you are a new golfer or been playing for a while and struggling with distance, something like this should definitely be coming into your game. Now, the thing that really does excite me about this is the shafts that we have in this. This is like not a cheap shaft. Not a cheap shaft at all. So let's start. Our first bit of this review is the head covers. You'll notice every single one of these 11 hybrids come with like these sort of sock head covers. Yes, they don't scream premium, but they're smart enough. They're smart enough. Right, we're gonna go and test now. Long, medium, and short from the thick, thick rough. So we're in the rough. We're going to be testing the 4-iron first, the longer iron. Now, the reason why I'm really interested in how this performs out the rough is, well, one, actually, 4-iron in general for most golfers is really hard, even if you're a very, very good player. But the technology here states that there is a new sole design, makes these irons playable from any line, adding versatility to your game. So they have got a new sole design to this golf club. The first thing that sort of comes to you when you take the head cover off is that it is this glossy black finish with the white detailing on the face. When I place this golf club down, it's got sort of a strange head shape for me. It's sort of like got a square edge, almost like it is an iron on this top edge. It's like got a square bit and then goes round. It looks a little strange. So this 4-iron is 21 degrees, quite a strong looking 4-iron. So let's see how it performs out this rough. Here we go. New sole. Should be versatile. Here we go. I'm interested in how far this goes. I feel like it's going to be like a bit of a rocket. Whoa, that flew weird. It didn't really come out with any spin, that. That was the bizarrest feeling in the world. 184 yards of carry that went, a little bit shorter than I would actually anticipate. I'll be honest, from the rough, like that felt quite hard to sort of gouge out, especially in this sort of Spanish rough. So straight away, right, yeah, interesting. The head design doesn't fill me with confidence right now in this sort of shape, and I'm a big fan of having like a 3 or 4 hybrid in my bag. Other things you'll notice is this grip. Now, most people, you might have Golf Pied grips or Lamb King grips on here. This comes with a G-Rip, a grip, but I've not heard of this brand before. Now, that's a minor thing, isn't it? It doesn't really matter what grip it has, but the one thing that you might want to question there is how long will it last? Interesting. Let's hit some shorter ones. We're going to go medium iron now from the rough. We've now come to 7-iron range, around 180 to the middle of that green. So we've got the 7-iron in my hand. This is 31 degrees. Again, this is a little stronger than what you would be used to. And the questions that I've got in my head is how is this going to perform out of the thick rough? Because when you're in thick rough, the grooves on the club get sort of caught between the grass and the ball, reducing the spin you're going to create. Now, if you look at that face there, there's not that many grooves on it in comparison to an iron. So interesting. Let's have a look at the distance. Do I hit the green? Don't I hit the green? 4-iron didn't hit the green. Didn't come out with a lot of spin, that shot. And remember, if these are replacing your irons, they've got to be good from all 3 scenarios. This is funny looking, this. When you put it down, you can see so much of the face, there's so much angle. One thing I would comment on, this club looks a little nicer. It's not a sort of square on that top edge, which I do prefer. So, round about the 7-iron mark for me, how far will this fly and will I hit the green? nice, felt really good. It's gone around about the 7-iron yardage as well, 174, straight as it did on the tin. And one thing I would say on that didn't go as high as I thought it was going to. I looked down on that and I thought, this is only going one way. It's only going really high. Sort of came out like an iron, which I guess has to be a positive. That thing is mad. It actually performs like an iron. Now 113 yards, pretty much what I expect for like a pitching wedge. And a good thing is, it didn't fire off and go a ridiculous distance. 4-iron finished in here. 7-iron and pitching wedge have just missed the green on the right hand side. But I'm gonna be surprised, like, it actually felt like an iron in the 7-iron and the pitching wedge. I thought they'd come off really, really hot, but they didn't. Which is a good thing for me. Like, the one thing I was really scared of is that they were gonna fly too far and be almost too like a hybrid. Now what I'm saying that for is simply that these want to perform like an iron, but have the benefits and the technology of a hybrid. Other thing to note on the pitching wedge here, it is more rounded like the 7-iron crown, which I think is a really nice thing. So here we go, pitching wedge out the rough. Now, this is the club that I have in question. This looks like it's got so much loft on it, very little grooves. If you think what you want for a pitching wedge is that it produces some spin and some control from the rough, the semi-rough and the fairway. Now, looking at this, I have got questions. Next thing, here we go. We've got it, obviously, if you're looking at a pitching wedge, you're gonna use this to chip with. So how does it perform? Well, I'll be honest, from the rough, first chip, second chip, third chip, I felt like I only had one option, a chip and run, one that was going away from you. Came out no spin that. Really put that on a deep lie. Now I know you could argue and say a pitching wedge is like that all the time, but I don't feel on those short shots from the rough, it produced the spin I would want or need. Back to 4-iron, but now we're gonna go from the semi-rough. Now this performs okay out of the thick rough. Questioned about the spin, it sort of felt like it was dropping out the sky. I feel like this might come into its own as we go from semi into fairway. Now, one thing I'm going to do is at the end of this video, I'm going to recommend who I think these clubs are actually for, because it might surprise you. Also, let me know if it's something that you're gaming already, like these sort of hybrid looking clubs. Right, let's test these. We're going to go long, medium, short, all from the semi-rough. And this is an intimidating shot. So let's see how it is with the old accuracy too. 220 yards plus out here. That was absolute delight to hit. That felt so easy. And we are dancing. I tell you what, you would take that every single time from 220 yards out. Whew. That carried 204 and finished around the 217, 220 mark. It looks pretty pin high to me. Right, we've now got 7-iron and pitching wedge. Look at us. Sun's come out for us for this test. And by the way, we're at Infinitum and on the Lakes course. This is hole 12. Water everywhere. So accuracy is needed. Okay, 7-iron in my hand, semi-rough. Can't get over how much loft this looks like it has, but I know it's not. I know it's strong. That was a little bit of a miss hit, but it's still flying. Let's get down, please. Sit. Oof. I think that was one bounce and in the water. That was a nice hit. It is a bit weird. That one went a lot higher than the ones out the thick rough with that club in particular, the 7. 31 degrees. 181, that went a little bit further than I thought it would. That's the carry too. Pitching wedge, here we go, 130 again. That looks pretty good to me. It does surprise me hitting a wedge like that. I tell you what, pitching wedge there, 4-iron there. Now one thing I would say is that's where my pitching wedge pitched and then the roll. Usually, for the pitching wedge, even out the semi-rough, I'd expect it to stop a little bit quicker than that. Just a little bit quicker, that's the only thing I would say. And then my 7-iron, one that went a little bit further than I anticipated, is in the watery grave over there. Semi-rough chip. Here we go. Came out a bit low, a bit running. Now, the one thing I would actually say with this, if people can't chip, they get a chipper. And putting this down here, I just put like a putting stroke on it and it sort of pops up and rolls down. That's sort of what this club feels like it does and should do. And these greens are very, very quick. Okay, a little bit more tech coming up, but let's now go and test the 4-iron, the 7-iron, and this pitching wedge from the fairway, and then I'm going to give you my overall verdict of who should be gaming these. Now, if you're thinking these pins look incredibly sneaky, you'd be right, because we are playing the exact same pins as they played in the final round of the DP World Tour qualifying school. What a great opportunity to test from the fairway. When we mean fairway, we mean a good lie. So a par 3 that is fraught with danger is a perfect scenario to try the long, the medium and the short. Okay, let's dive into a little bit more of this tech. Now, I know 11 say these are irons, but at the end of the day, they're hybrids. So what technology do hybrids have? So if you look at a hybrid, essentially they have a bigger back than an iron. Now, this allows any manufacturer to put the center of gravity lower and further back. 11 said they put theirs lower and deeper to help bring a high launch. And so far through this vlog, I would say the sort of 7-iron, sort of medium irons are definitely launching a lot higher than I would anticipate, all the way down to what I would even class in the pitching wedge. Again, going higher than I anticipate. There's also perimeter weighting around this club underneath and in the technology here that offers more forgiveness and straighter shots overall. I would actually say that and echo that. I haven't hit many shots with a lot of curvature on them, but things that I found, I guess verdict is the medium irons are going longer than I anticipate, definitely easier to hit and going a little higher. Now time to do the ultimate test though. We've got the long iron on this area. Look at us, fraught with danger this hole, isn't it? 4-iron, 200 yards. Can we hit the green? All right. Windy here as well, so this will be a real good test for it. That was such a peach of a hit. That is coming into that flag, middle of the green all day. Oh, bit of spin on it. Bit of spin and stop. I have to say, I felt very confident with that. Okay, we're going to go on to the next one here. We're going down to 7-iron range. Got my 7-iron. It's around about the 190 yard mark, a little bit of wind down. I'm sort of taking it into account here because how far that last 7-iron went out of that semi. It'd be interesting to see how this goes off a perfect lie. I'm going to say what I said on before. It does give you more confidence looking down on them. But I fear at the launch and the spin. That's the things I'm questioning in my head right now. That's gone so high. Winds on that. Got about the right distance, but very, very high. Call me brave, call me stupid, but I've got a pitching wedge in my hand. I think we can make it. 150 yards to the flag. We can make that with the pitching wedge. Looking good. I thought I just can put the easiest swing on it. Dancing, middle of the green. One thing I would say, every single one of those shots, I felt like I could put my easiest swing on them, and that was right out the guns. Look at that, right out the guns. Okay, now time for a verdict. What do I think? How do they perform? And should and who should game them? The big question is, what price are they? Well, they come in at £680, and that's for 3-iron all the way down to pitching wedge, which I'll be honest, I think that is a pretty fair price because you're getting a KBS shaft, you're getting 3-iron through to pitching wedge, you're getting a head cover. I'll be honest, for the price, I think that is absolutely spot on. So what are the positives, what are the negatives? Let's start with negatives. Let's start with those first. For a good player, I think you'll find that when you look down on it, it looks a little bit peculiar. Even though there are slightly stronger lofted clubs, it looks like there's loads of loft on them and they're going to go straight up in the air. You'll also see the ball launch a little bit higher with some less spin, and round the greens, you don't have that versatility. But the positives, and there are a lot here, I would say, they fly a little bit further, they go a little bit higher, which for some people is going to be absolutely perfect. And one thing that I would definitely say, when you put the club down with 7-iron above, which is where most people struggle, they look really inviting in the sense of they look forgiving, they look like they're going to go straight. And on every single one of them shots, I felt as though I didn't have to hit it hard at all. So the big question is, who are these clubs for? Well, I would say if you're a low handicap player, they're probably not something you're going to want to game, because in those shorter clubs, you're going to feel like that lack of spin is going to be detrimental to your game. But if you're somebody that's sort of a 12 handicap and above, struggling for distance, not launching the ball higher, or actually just a casual golfer, this is something I would buy over a set of irons, 100%. Because you're going to have way more fun, hit the ball higher, hit the ball longer, and actually come off the golf course going, you know what? I enjoyed myself. Thanks so much for watching. If you did enjoy this review, don't forget to subscribe and hit the thumbs up button, because we get access to all the latest clubs for everybody else with honest reviews.